What's going on, everybody? This is August, and I want to make a video today about EQing your 808s properly and putting compression on them and limiting them properly, and also your kick drum as well, because the two and two coincide together very, very well, and sometimes the kick drum can honestly pull out more of a high-end punchiness that the 808 can't because it's such a low-end sound. So complementing both of them, layering over top of each other, is a really great thing to do. But I'm going to be making a video about how you can pull out certain frequencies within the 808 and the kick drum to make them more powerful, make them stand out in your mix and your track, if you will. So I'm going to be doing that today. So let's just jump right into it. I don't want to, touch too long on this subject, because it really honestly shouldn't take you that long to begin with. So, all right, I'm going to play the track. I actually started this morning, to be honest. So I'm going to play what I have so far without my EQ, my compression, and my limiting on both the 808 and the kick. So these two. So here's what I have so far. Okay, it's there. You can hear the 808 and you can hear the kick, but it's just not very powerful at all. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn on what I have so far to make these two pop, and then I'll go back through later in the video and really explain what I did to get to this point. So that really just brings it out right away. So you can completely hear the difference. Okay, so now we're going to talk about EQing the 808. So personally, I really love using FabFilter, as do, a million other producers. I'm not unique in that sense at all, just because it's a great plugin. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brick wall everything below 20 hertz. That is my go-to. That is the first thing I do when I have an 808, when I'm going into my mixing phase. I always cut everything below 20 hertz. Everything below this in this blackened area, you just don't need it all, because it's very muddy, and if you have a lot of low end, let's say in your melody to begin with, this will just start mashing with each other, and it's just going to sound horrible, when you track out. So just cut everything below this point. That's just my opinion. Next part though, I normally boost everything between 20 and 30 hertz. And not too much, and it all depends on the 808 too. So you really got to take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not saying this is exactly what you need to do every single 808, but this is just my routine. I go through all these different steps, and I find what needs to be boosted, what needs to be cut, everything. So listen to the 808 that you have with the track that or the 808 that's in your track personally, and then take what I say and then apply it to the sound of the 808 that you currently have, not mine that I'm playing for you right now. So I am building this EQ off the one that I have right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to boost in this area. Let me cut all this other crap out. Hold on. Cut my kick too. So we just got the 808. So if you can hear, listen really, really closely. If you can listen really closely, just hear the difference when I bring this up. So everything between 20 and 30 hertz is where the rumbleness is going to come from. It's going to just really just like shake everything in this area. So I'm going to boost it maybe 4.5 dBs. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. You don't want to do too much, because, simplicity is key, especially when you're, diving deep into EQing things. So next thing I'm going to do is, though, I'm going to look at 40 and 80 hertz. In that range, you're going to want to boost here to add a little bit more power to your 808. So let me just clip in here. Let's see. Honestly, when you boost this up, you can kind of hear in this particular 808 that it boosts the tail end of the 808. I'm just going to boost up a little bit just because I want it to be really, really powerful. So next thing though, moving on, is going to be everything between 100 and 150 hertz. So this is an area where you are going to want to cut because some of the frequencies in this area are just not going to sound that great. So that's what you're going to want to do. And immediately when I bring it up, that's what you hear. That's what you want to get rid of. So make a very narrow band. Because I want to cut that right there. Okay. So that is, actually, let me bring this up because we do not need that much. That's fine. All right, so this is basically what my EQing looks like every time I go into an 808. It looks something like this. So basically anything past, this point of maybe 150 hertz, which is like right there, right here. Everything here is all up to you. For the most part, this area right here, everything between 20 hertz and 150 should look a little something like this. So this is what I'm going to leave it at because I don't want to cut anything in here because it honestly doesn't need to. It's pretty low enough to begin with. But if you have some crazy ass like clipping noise up in the higher end here, just cut it out. It's fine. But next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the kick. And I'll go back through and compression and all that stuff later, but I really want to get EQing out of the way first. So for the kick, there's a little secret to this too. So basically for every kick that I do, I cut a majority of my, muddiness below 50 hertz. But for this one, for instance, I only cut about 30 because you should stay between the range of about 30 and 50 hertz, to really decide on where you need to cut down from. But I stayed at 30 for this particular kick because that's what I feel that it needed. Because if I went up a little too higher, it started taking away the punchiness that I want. So I kept it at this. Let me just drop this. Yeah, I'll keep it. So for this one, I kept it at 30. And everything below this point is getting cut. Should probably turn it on so you can hear it. Everything here, boom, is just getting chopped right away. But for the next part though, everything between 80, wherever it is, 80 and 200 hertz is what you're going to want to use to boost your kick. Make it really, really punchy. So if you want something that really just slams through, the headphones or speakers or wherever you're, playing your track at, and you want your kick to be there, really, really present, just boost it in this area because it'll just take over. So that's exactly what I did. So if you can hear, I'll take it away. Makes a little difference, For this particular track, I don't really want my kick to be that present. So I'm just going to leave it about right here. But you can, by all means, boost it through the ceiling if you want to. I don't really care. But that's going to be the baseline for the EQing, at least on that portion. All right, so next we're going to talk about compression. Now, this is another big thing, especially for the kick drum that you must have to be able to, really, really draw out like the full power of your 808 and your kick. So for my 808 on this particular one, I'm only using the trial version on this because I downloaded it and you get 30 free days to trial anything on your FabFilter. So I highly recommend you do that. It's a great, great software. So just go ahead and try that. But what I did for this, and I'll show you right now what I did. I don't want it compressing so hard that it's really just taking a huge dip. So just this little dip. But the best thing about this compressor is that it has all these presets on here. And I know other compressors have presets, but these ones really do go in depth. And, you know, they show you what's changing down here. So you can kind of get an idea of, you know, if you want something to sound a certain way, you can, you know, take pieces from other presets and patch them together and make your own sound. But this is what I did. Okay, so nothing too fancy. I just wanted a tiny, you know, tiny little dip. I'm only going down about negative, you know, 1.5 dB, so that's not that much. That's good enough though. So let's move on to kick drum. All right, now a compression on the kick is so important. I can't stress it enough. And again, I'm using the Fab Filter one more time, but I'm using another preset. I'm using Punchy Rock Kick. Now I wish there was like a hip hop section in this, you know, that there was like a hip hop compressor for kick drums, all that crap, but this just, you know, this does just fine. Now I'm going to kind of just talk about, you know, some certain areas that you're going to want to keep a lot of these knobs in. So what I did was for this one, I took it down about negative 18 dBs because I don't want it too crazy. I don't want it too loud. But for the ratio, I did, you know, 7.59. Basically what you want to stay between for your ratio is 4:1 or 8:1. And for your attack, you know, I bumped it down to 2 seconds. You know, you can stay between, if you want to, you can stay between 5 seconds and 15 seconds. That's a good area, you know, in milliseconds for your attack and your kick when you're compressing. And then also your release, I put it at about 9.3%. And I put it at around 40 milliseconds for hold. You can, you know, a good range is between 40 and 200 if you want. You know, you could put it up that high if you want to, but this is just what I did for this. So here's what it sounds like. Now for this one, I really wanted a compression that just, you know, took down a lot of the kick because I don't want it to be very present in this track because I want more of the tail end of the 808 to kind of mask the kick drum over top. See what I mean? Like it's there. It just helps the 808 a little bit on the initial punch. But, you know, what really makes it and draws it out is the tail of the 808, and that's what I was going for. So in my eyes, I don't have to do anything else for this track except for just add a little, you know, limiter on the 808, which I did here. Limiting is very important too, because if you don't want anything to clip, using a limiter is a really good idea. Obviously, you can use way too much of it and it'll sound like absolute dog shit. But if you know how to use a limiter right, it'll just be amazing. In my eyes, I'm done with this track. You know, I've done everything that I needed to. So let me just show you what we did so far. I'm gonna play the track with and without everything too. So here is without. Okay, here's with. Obviously, I'm not done yet. I just, you know, only EQ these things, but I didn't touch anything else in this track. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it. And I just wanted to make the video about, you know, EQing the 808 and kick properly, because that's just, you know, the most important thing you can do in a track, in my opinion, is these two guys are just, you know, back to back. They are just so powerful together. So if you can accomplish this correctly, you know, that's half the battle. So that's the video. You know, thank you guys for watching. I'll be posting up on the channel, you know, pretty soon. Once again, this is August with Speaker Reapers. I appreciate you guys coming by, watching my tutorial video. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.